Well, hello everyone. My name's Tom Morley and welcome to Irish Fiddling 101. This is my continuing series of videos where I help the beginning and intermediate fiddle players out there who'd like to learn to play some Irish traditional tunes. I teach one tune in each video. I'm always looking for great tunes that are going to be fun to play either from music or by ear. I'm the author of the book Learn to Play Irish Trad Fiddle, and of course all the tunes in the book are written out. But playing by ear is an important step as well to all budding Irish fiddlers out there, or fiddlers of any kind. I found that if you put one or two fiddle players, or particularly fiddle teachers, in a room together, there'll be a lively discussion right away about the merits of either learning to play a tune completely by ear, using music, something in between. My students, I kind of like to go a 50-50 approach. I try to let a student learn to play a tune by music, written out, and then we kind of wean them off of that and we learn to play it more and more by ear. Some students are better at learning to play by ear than others. And that's a skill that you can develop. There's no doubt about it. You don't have to, I think some people say, oh, I could never learn a tune by ear. I have to have the notes in front of me in written music. But I've proven time and time again, even to the stubbornest student of mine, that they can learn to play by ear. I think the history of learning to play by music goes back quite a ways. At one point I used to think that every fiddle player must have learned every tune by ear for hundreds of years. But there have been books of fiddle tunes printed as far back as the 1700s in Scotland. And then there were many books in the United States published in the 1800s. Ryan's Mammoth Collection was a great book with almost, I think, 1,000 fiddle tunes in it. And it was a huge seller for decades and decades. So somebody must have been reading the dots on the page. That's what I'm thinking here. When we think of Chief Francis O'Neill and the first big collection of tunes that he put together in Chicago in the very early 1900s. That was also a big seller. So people were reading the Irish traditional tunes from printed music at that point, I do believe. But today the tune we're going to learn is the one you just heard me play. It's called The Walls of Liscaroll. And I predict that within 5 or 10 minutes I'll have everybody here. I'll have you all playing this tune by ear. It seems like a busy tune with a lot of notes, but what you want to listen for is the little segments that are similar. And I have not found a jig better than The Walls of Liscaroll to show a student these segments that you can listen for, learn, and then stitch together to make a tune. Let's listen to this tune real quick. I'm going to play it again, and then I'm going to take it apart, show you the little Lego blocks, as I call them, the pieces that get put together over and over again to make this tune. If you think of one measure of music as a Lego block, you could easily build this tune out of just 4 blocks, believe it or not. So let's listen to this tune again. It's in a very unique key. It's in D minor Dorian off of a C major scale. In other words, there's no sharps or flats in the tune at all, but the notes that we'd have to worry about, like F, natural, we don't actually use them in the tune, so it's not a big problem there. If you want to warm up on a scale, the scale that builds this tune is what we call a gapped scale. If you think of gaps in something, well, this scale is not going to have all 8 notes. It's going to be missing some notes. It's going to have D, E, G, A, C. So let's think about what happened there. We didn't play second finger on the D string, so when we went open 1, 3, on the A string we went. There we didn't play the second finger, so we have no second finger on the A string, and we have no first finger on the D, first finger on the D string. once again, that's 3, 2 open on the A string, no first finger, and 3, 1 open on the D string, no second finger. So let's hear that again. A very unique scale there, but that way we're missing the F natural. We don't play a low second. We don't play any second finger at all on the D string. That helps set your fingers up. Actually, and when you play that gapped scale backwards, you are playing the first 2 measures of the waltz of Liscaroll. Can you hear that? So that's probably the most important 2-measure block you're going to need to be able to play this tune by ear. So listen for that, and I'll play the whole tune now. 1, 2. So there were only 4 melodic elements that really got stuck together to make that tune. I'm going to play each one for you now several times, and if you got your fiddles handy, you should try to play these little bits along with me, and then you'll see how they all get stitched together to make the tune. So here is the first little 2-measure segment. It's made up of that gapped scale notes. First the gapped part of the scale on the A string starts on open A, and then 3, 2, open, then you do the open A again. What I want you to do as you're playing that is just think of the little finger dance that your fingers do there. Try not to think of the actual notes, but you are going to play 3, 2 open on the A string and 3, 1 open on the D string. If you start thinking that way, you'll build this little melody very quickly. So here I go, I'm going to play it a few times. So there you go, that's melody number 1. We're going to use that over and over again. That's how it starts. Every 4 measures has that melody in the A section of the tune. The next little block that you'll remember is is a string crossing, very Irish sounding. Just that very simple thing. 3, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1. Let's listen to that again. So I like to call that to my students the little iconic Irish lick there. Da 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 da. That really sounds like a jig as soon as you play those 6 notes anyway. If you play, now the little rule in this tune, if you play those notes in the middle of the melody, then you're going to go on the 3rd finger and work your way up all the way, just right up the scale. So, once again, in the middle of a tune, you'll go. All right? So there's part of the licks. After that, you'll play lick number 1 again. Then at the end, you'll still play the Irish lick. Then you'll end it by going down, open 1, open, open, just kind of wallowing around down there in the very end of the scale. So let's listen to that first part. There's only 4 elements once again. That's part 1, 2, up the scale, part 1 again. The Irish lick. And down. Can you hear that? That's all it takes to make that melody. Once you've learned that, by the way, that's the A section of the tune. You'll play that twice, of course. And then, guess what? There's only one other new measure that you have to learn to be able to put the B part together. It's this little lick right here. That's 3, open, 3, open. And that's all that is. 3, open, 3, and then an A minor arpeggio backwards. Once you learn it, guess what? Every time you do it, you'll do it twice in a row. But that's all that measure is. All right, guess what? You have learned every part that makes up the Walls of Liscaroll now by playing those 4 elements. Let's call it 4.5 because of the way the scale goes up in the middle and wobbles around down at the bottom at the end each time. So I'm going to play the whole tune again. I'm going to take it apart. I'll point out every section that we play, and I think you'll be real surprised how quickly this tune will come together for you. So here's Lego block number 1. That's one of those two-length Lego blocks, I think. It's the only 2-measure melody we have in the whole piece. So that's how it starts. Irish string crossing. Right up the scale. Original. String crossing. And down. Down. Then the second part. Do it again. Then string crossing. Up. Then string crossing. And down. Up. The last 4 measures of the B section are the same as the last 4 measures of the A section. Now, how about that? What a great tune, jig, that's made up of just 4 little elements. This is one that I really enjoy teaching by ear. Even, as I said, some of my students that have a hard time catching things by ear, once they realize the little bits that make up this tune, I'm able to make them quickly look away from the music and learn these elements that way as well. If you are a good music reader, you should look at the sheet music for this tune and see those elements and see how often they're repeated that way. You'll also notice it that way quite quickly, how interesting this tune is. Let me tell you, every fiddle tune ever written is made up of repetitive elements. There's no tune out there that is a never-ending, continuing stream of unrelated notes. No, no, no. Nothing ever happens like that. It's always repetitive bits. Sometimes they're longer. Sometimes a phrase is 2 measures, like the first part of this tune. Maybe it's 3 or 4 measures. Maybe it won't happen as many times. But every fiddle tune is usually repeated twice, so no matter what these repetitive parts are that you're listening for, you'll play them several times over. But this is a good way to start training your ear to listen for these little melodies. Did it go up? Did it go down? Did it stay in the same place? Did it make a big jump? These are the things you want to listen for as you try to play a tune, either by ear or wean your way away from the music. Well, I'm going to play this tune twice in a row now for you to end our lesson today, and see if you can't quickly play these little elements along with me, and by the second time around you should be able to play the tune pretty well. The Walls of Liscaroll. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. Did you hear the elements in there as I played it each time around? I hope you did. I hope that helps you get your ear more in tune and listening for the parts that make up great fiddle tunes. If you like that tune, you'll love all the tunes in my book, Learn to Play Irish Trad Fiddle. I also have another book called Fiddle Club Favorites. Both books are full of great tunes for the beginning and intermediate fiddle players out there, working on any style of music really. And whatever kind of fiddling you like, I think you'll enjoy these books. Look me up at irishtradfiddle.com and like me on Facebook. It's the Fiddle Center, Tom Morley's Irish and American Fiddle Studio. So you can also email me, by the way, at thefiddlecenter@gmail.com. All these are up on the screen right now. So please give me a visit, and if you have any questions, you want the sheet music, I'll be glad to send it to you. Until next time, with another great video lesson in Irish fiddling, this is Tom Morley saying thanks for joining me.